Hello Internet, my name is Keith, this is my wife Jennifer.
Hello.
And we are going today to see the film The Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel. We have had our Chick-fil-A dinner and now we're on our way to see the film, and we're going to do a review of the film after we're done, but right now we're going to do a previewing review. So this is a preview review. I don't know much about this film. The only thing I know about this film is that it has to do with human trafficking, that it has the guy who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, and in the movie poster, he's exercising good trigger discipline. That may not seem like it's very important to very many people. It's important to me. You're the one who wanted to see the movie.
I did.
We're going to go and we're going to give an honest review once the movie is over. But as I said, my preview review is, I think, based upon what you've told me, sort of sounds like it's going to be like Taken.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
And it's going to shine a light on the problem that we don't talk about or hear about very often, but is human trafficking, specifically like child sex trafficking.
And it is interesting because we were talking about this. You know, we think about the idea of slavery as something that is something that used to happen, but we don't think of it as something that still happens. But there's actually more slaves in the world now than there ever have been. So it's going to be interesting to see how it tackles that subject and what kind of a challenge. I'm sure the movie is going to give some form of a challenge, like this is what needs to be happening in regard to this. So we're looking forward to seeing the movie, and after the movie's over, we'll come back with our review, and it'll be a spoiler-free review. We won't spoil the movie for anybody. Just if you want to see it, we'll tell you whether or not we think it's worth going. All right, everyone, we just came out of seeing Sound of Freedom, and it was very heavy. It was a very heavy film. You know, a lot of times you go to the movies to be entertained, but I would say in this context, it was more about education than entertainment. Jim Caviezel at the end, and again, no spoilers, I'm not giving you spoilers, but there is a end credit scene that you need to stay for if you do come to watch the film, and he talks about the importance of storytelling and how storytelling is one of the ways that you can make change in the world. I think that there's more to this movie than just the film. This is not a movie for entertainment. This is a movie to educate on the subject of human trafficking, and it is interesting to put a face with a real situation. Obviously, they're the actors' faces, but you're putting in your mind, this is something that happens to real people. These aren't statistics. These aren't numbers. These aren't things that happen to nameless, faceless hordes. This is things that happen to real people. The father in the story,
Real son, real daughter.
Yeah, a real family. You know, and again, not saying anything that isn't already in the trailer, so no spoilers. But obviously the family is the focus of the movie, and the man who is working for Homeland Security, who the story is based around, the true story that it's based around. Normally with a movie review, I would talk about acting, or I would talk about choice of, you know, things like how the film was shot and things like that, because I do like filmmaking, I like cinema, I like storytelling, but there's so much more about this movie than just that. This is not a film that I would take my children to see. There's some language in the film. There's also some really heavy subject matter that I wouldn't want my children to have to visualize or think about. But it is a movie that I would want to talk to my children about. Trusting people when, you know, you need to vet everyone, and especially strangers. So it's just something to think about. This is not a film for kids, but it's a film that if you have kids, it'll make you think about your kids and think about conversations to have with your kids. I've heard people say, oh, you're going to cry during this movie. Honestly, there was a few moments where I got real choked up, but I never really cried about this movie. I was angry, like viscerally angry. I think the feeling of righteous indignation was more of what I felt in this film. It wasn't a cry, it was anger. Just wanting to see justice done, see the innocent protected, and see the guilty punished. But yeah, I didn't cry. So a couple things to take away. One, I would definitely encourage people to see it. I know that there's issues some people have. I heard somebody say it was made by Mormons. This movie wasn't made by Mormons. This movie is being distributed by Angel Studios, and I don't know, is Angel Studios Mormon? Is that okay? So, but the film itself was made 5 years ago. They talked about this in the end credits. The movie was made years ago, and no one would distribute it. And that should raise some questions. Why? Why would no one distribute this? It's a good movie. It tells a compelling story. It's very much in the vein of like the movie Taken, in the sense of, I mentioned that before. I was right in regard to the idea of someone being kidnapped and all those things. But you have to ask yourself, why was this movie put on the shelf and why was it not distributed? And finally, it's being distributed now. And if you do want to see the movie and you can't afford it, they actually offer free tickets. And there's a way to actually help other people get tickets to see the film, and I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can go. If you want to buy tickets for other people to see this film, you can go to the link below and do that.
I just keep thinking about what they said, God's children are not for sale.
That's the theme of the movie, is that God's children are not for sale. And I think they tell that story in a compelling way. I would encourage you to go watch this movie and to encourage other people to go see it as well.